Crosby out the clock, and he scores! Goal!
And he had a killer instinct. If you were coming across the blue line with your head down, Denny was the first one to take you out.
If it was a tough game, he could play as tough as anybody. If it was a skate and shoot game, he could skate and shoot with the best of them.
Dennis could adapt to any kind of type of game that was being played.
He had a wrist shot from the top of the circles that was a bullet. Man, ain't nobody gonna stop that puck.
I wasn't the rah-rah guy in the dressing room. I felt it would be a lot easier for me to go out and put a hip check on the opponent's best player and lead in that sense.
The in goes Potvin! Good score!
Some remember him for a hip check so violent, it sent the Flower of Montreal spinning through the air. Others remember a slap shot so fast, over 102 miles per hour, that goaltenders said they could feel the heat of the puck through their pads. He retired in 1988, yet thousands of fans still curse his name today. That man is Denis Potvin. Wayne Gretzky once said, "Potvin was such a massive presence that just having him on either side of the ice made peace-loving players want to skate to the other side." These 5 stories will tell you exactly how terrifying he truly was. February 25th, 1979, Madison Square Garden. New York Rangers against the New York Islanders. Rangers forward Ulf Nilsson was one of the most gifted players in the league at that time. A skilled Swedish forward signed to transform the Rangers' offense, Nilsson was fast, creative, and dangerous. But as he moved along the boards with the puck, Potvin came crashing in with a body check of devastating force. At the exact moment of impact, Nilsson's skate caught a rut in the ice. His ankle had nowhere to go. It snapped. He left the ice on a stretcher and never returned to his previous level of play. Referee Bruce Hood reviewed the play and called it clean. No penalty. But Rangers fans saw it differently. From that night forward, a chant was born inside Madison Square Garden. 3 words, set to the tune of a song organists had long played at sporting events across North America. Fans began punctuating that melody with "Potvin sucks," shouting it with fury every time the music played. When Garden management stopped playing the song on the organ in the mid-1980s, hoping to kill the chant, the fans simply started whistling the tune themselves. The chant never died. It has echoed inside that building for over 40 years, long after Potvin retired in 1988, carried from one generation of Rangers fans to the next. Ulf Nilsson, reflecting on it all in 1995, said, "My physical pain ended long ago, but that chant lives on forever." One Rangers fan, speaking around 2018 or 2019, put it simply, "My father is a gentle man, but 41 years later he still loses his mind every time he hears the name Denis Potvin." And Potvin was not done sending messages that decade. His patented hip check, low, perfectly timed, and brutally effective, claimed another famous victim, the Flower of the Montreal Canadiens. One Islander season ticket holder who witnessed it in person described the moment. He did one on the Flower that made him flip over. Open ice, no warning. The most dangerous forward in Canada sent airborne by a defenseman who treated every check like a statement. The Philadelphia Flyers of that era were not simply a hockey team. They were a warning. Nicknamed the Broad Street Bullies, they built their identity around physical intimidation, and the most feared weapon in their arsenal was Dave Schultz, known throughout the league as the Hammer. Schultz did not just fight. He hunted. He targeted skilled players and dared them to respond. Most did not. That night, Schultz came straight for Potvin, a deliberate act of intimidation. Potvin was only in his second year in the league. The smart move would have been to skate away. Instead, he dropped his gloves without hesitation and stepped directly into the fight. The commentator that night captured the moment. "Denis Potvin is going at Schultz. Dennis can take care of himself, and everybody knows how dangerous Schultz is, But Potvin is not backing down one single step. It was not meant to be a clean win. What mattered was the message sent back. The Islanders had a player who would not be moved by fear, not by reputation, not by fists. Coach Al Arbour later said, "Dennis Potvin is a wall of steel. I could put him on the ice in any situation, whether to score the deciding goal or to stop a violent attack, and he always completed the mission with a frightening level of perfection." There is a certain kind of fearlessness that goes beyond the physical. It lives in the mind. And after the 1976 Canada Cup, Denis Potvin showed the hockey world exactly how far his extended. Bobby Orr had just been named tournament MVP. He was 30 years old, barely able to skate on a devastated knee, and still outplaying everyone on the ice. The crowd adored him. The media celebrated him. The hockey world treated his MVP award as a moment of beautiful closure for a fading legend. Then Potvin opened his mouth. He stated publicly that he had outplayed Orr throughout the entire tournament and that the MVP award had been given for sentimental reasons, a farewell gift to a hero on his way out, not a reflection of who actually performed better on the ice. The reaction was immediate and fierce. Respected hockey journalist Red Fisher wrote in 1976, "Potvin is an insufferable crybaby. He showed a complete lack of respect for what Orr sacrificed while playing through that kind of pain." But Potvin never wavered. Years later, in 1985, he explained, "I always had to fight against expectations. Being compared to Orr made my job harder. I didn't hate him, but I believed in myself, and I was never afraid to say so." Some weapons announce themselves. Denis Potvin's slapshot did not need to. By the time goaltenders heard it, it was already too late. Potvin's shot was recorded at over 102 miles per hour, a number that placed it among the most powerful ever measured in the NHL. He won the hardest shot competition at the All-Star Game 7 times throughout his career. But raw speed alone does not explain why goaltenders genuinely dreaded facing him. The difference was control. Potvin used a stiff stick with almost no flex, and a specially curved blade that allowed him to place the puck with surgical precision, even at full power. He was not simply shooting hard. He was shooting hard and exactly where he intended. Goaltenders of his era described stopping his shot as a violent experience, even when they succeeded. The impact did not stop at the pads. Bruising was common. Bone damage was not unheard of. Hockey legend Bobby Hull captured it best in 1967. The shot that goaltenders fear most is the one that flies straight at them with such force that they can feel the heat of it through their leg pads. One Hall of Fame goaltender from the Toronto Maple Leafs described it plainly. When Denis Potvin wound up with that stone-hard stick of his, all you could do was pray. The control was unreal, and the puck arrived at a speed you simply could not believe. In 1985, Potvin unleashed one of those shots from the blue line past Rangers goaltender John Van Beesbrook, the goal that officially broke Bobby Orr's all-time scoring record for defensemen. A record shattered with a slapshot. The 1983 Stanley Cup Final was supposed to be the moment everything changed. The Edmonton Oilers were young, explosive, and built around the greatest offensive mind the sport had ever seen, Wayne Gretzky. They had scored more goals that season than any team in NHL history. Before the series began, Gretzky made comments praising the Montreal Canadiens as the greatest dynasty in hockey history, a remark the New York Islanders, the reigning 3-time champions, took as a direct slight. Potvin made sure his team did not forget it. On the ice, he orchestrated a defensive structure so disciplined and so suffocating that Gretzky barely had room to breathe. Every Oiler who entered the Islanders' zone paid a physical price. The hits were not reckless. They were calculated, relentless, and deeply personal. The Islanders won the series 4-0. What happened after the final whistle became the most revealing moment of all. As the Oilers walked past the Islanders' dressing room, they saw their conquerors not celebrating, but sitting exhausted, covered in ice packs and hot towels, bodies broken from the cost of winning. Gretzky never forgot it. He later said, "That was when we understood what it truly took to win the Stanley Cup. They taught us the kind of brutality required to be champions." Dennis Potvin retired in 1988 as the highest-scoring defenseman in NHL history, 1,052 points in 1,060 games. He was the first defenseman ever to reach 1,000 career points. He won 3 Norris trophies. He lifted the Stanley Cup 4 consecutive times. Phil Esposito said it best. He could beat you with his stick, his body, or his brain. You never knew which one was coming. What do you think of Dennis Potvin? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to support the channel.